And we kind of touched upon this at the beginning with the context of, a month ago, it looked like the Kings were going to bring in a bunch of different centers, and it would be Len and then somebody had the competition, which would probably have been Nerlens Noel. But it appeared for a second there that it was going to be like Nerlens Noel, Neemias Queta, and Skal Labissiere. Granted, Skal probably had little to no chance. But it would have been three guys competing, bringing the best out of each other in training camp, and then you'd get to take your pick out of the three of them for one roster spot. But then they signed McGee, and then days after that, James Ham reports that the Kings intend it to be Len and McGee, basically. Screw the other guys. And then the Kings, I think the next day, I don't know how it worked out, but I almost got a sense that it's like, I could just imagine like Nerlens Noel and his agent on the phone, like, you see this shit? you see this thing? And Queta too. And, they probably talked to him and then they waived him to give him a chance to play elsewhere. As I said, Queta's on a 2-way contract in Boston. Seems like a good move for both of them. James Ham pointed out that it's like Robert Williams has had injury issues. Al Horford's old as hell. That's a chance for Queta to maybe do something. It'll be interesting to see what Boston fans think of him when they get to see him play. But sticking to McGee here, it kind of seemed like they're just going all in on McGee, who did not have a good season in Dallas really at all.
Here's a flip up by McGee with the right.
He's 35. He's going to be 36 in January. And it's just one of those things. Are the Kings too bullish on him? Is he going to be a guy that can step up and play and make an impact? Or is he going to just be more relied upon for the fact that he's got 3 championships under his belt? He's the veteran presence. That was kind of a couple questions there, but it's just like, what are your thoughts on the whole thing? Do you think that was a little short-sighted to do that? And what do you expect out of McGee?
I think it was short-sighted. Yeah. Like, of course you want the more competition. Competition brings the best out of everyone, right? Like maybe Noel was the better player. He's the younger player. I get he's not signed to a team like Queta is, but Noel was the guy the Kings were legit looking at like 2 years ago to be that backup. And, now he didn't even get a chance to compete for the spot. You bring in a 35-year-old JaVale McGee. Yeah, JaVale McGee is a bigger name than Nerlens Noel and Queta, and has success in his career, 3 championships, and being a 35-year-old NBA player. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel like at that point it was just like, I was kind of surprised that JaVale signed here because it sounded like other teams were interested in him. I'm like, why did he choose the Kings? Like, we have Noel and Queta. Like, he's just signing to a training camp deal. So I felt like he's like, I'll sign with you guys, but you're making sure that I'm going to be on this team. So I felt like that had to have kind of gone into it. Because, like, why would McGee be fighting with, like, Noel and Queta in training camp, right? Like, why would he sign here to compete when he can probably go get a guaranteed contract somewhere else? Or just, like, a guaranteed, like, spot in the rotation, even if it's a third-string center. And it probably isn't third string. It could be second string if Len struggled. I mean, Len was great at the end of last year, but he really only played at the end of last year. So McGee's going to have plenty of opportunity to come in, and I think he knows that. So, yeah, I think they were a little bullish on it, like you said. I think they should have had the competition, but at the same time, like, I don't know if McGee would have come over if the competition existed. It's like, well, if Noel does better, like, you're getting cut. He probably would have gone elsewhere.
I think that's a fair point. You can't have the best of both worlds. So I concede that maybe a training camp competition of McGee, Noel, and Queta is probably never feasible given all the guys' interests and whatnot. But yeah, I think it's interesting the fact that they would, maybe this is speculation, but it's like if that was kind of the agreement, like, yeah, no, I'll join you guys. I want to play for you guys, but like, am I going to come join a training camp competition? At the end of the day, that's because he won 2 of his championships with the Warriors under, Steve Kerr and Mike Brown was an assistant there. And one of the things that it comes down to for this whole question of being too bullish is Mike Brown too bullish on guys that he seems comfortable with? It was last year they let frickin' Sam Merrill go, who might make the team with Cleveland this year. And they went ahead with Chima Moneke and KZ Okpala. They could have lost one of those guys. None of them finished the season. None of them looked particularly good. Moneke was not an NBA player. And, you know, it was almost like Mike Brown knew better. And, of course, you got to lend some trust to your head coach to be able to make those decisions. But it's like, man, that didn't seem like it made any sense at all. The fact that we're talking about Alex Len only playing late in the season. Chimezie Metu, aside from like stretches of games where he looked solid as a backup, never looked like a backup center that you wanted to keep. I mean, there were always rumors about the Kings being kind of interested in maybe trying to acquire Noel. Never really happened after he got bought out, but trade conversation, I think there was that Bleacher Report article. You know, I don't know. It's interesting to pan out. I think it's just worth asking these questions. And at the end of the day, it might not matter. I mean, if McGee's the second true center and really realistically, you know, in terms of backing up Sabonis, the third guy behind Lyles/Len, it's not even going to be that big of an issue. Maybe it's nitpicking to point this out, but going down the line, especially when it comes to player evaluation and making those decisions without seeing the guys in training camp, I think that's just worth kind of keeping an eye on.